do it. I guess I'll do it. All right, I'm starting. We want to record this. This was like, oh, what a nice voice. Okay. So
Okay.
to what you were saying, Todd, but would
I
love for
think
you
I
to
got
give a
an
little more
angle on
in.
this. Yeah. Oh,
All right,
you're freezing a little bit.
take it away.
Okay.
Okay, I may turn my monitor.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. It looks like we have board members and fellow members, which are very, 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 very important to have in any chapter. I'm with the Central Ohio, also known as Columbus, chapter of ATD. And we've got an active group of maybe 200 members, roughly. I wouldn't say they're all active, but they're all members. And we have a volunteer network. And I'm gonna, Debbie, just a heads up, I'm not gonna talk more strategic. I'm gonna talk more about our chapter, and then you guys can ask me dive in questions on the how later if you want. But our chapter's been around for a number of years. It sounds like your chapter might be similar in size. And we have your standard board that follows the CARE program. For those board members will understand and nod a little. We do all sorts of things like that. From a chapter serving our members' perspective, we have standard meetings, kind of like what you had the other day, as well as chapter-wide events. And we have a chapter, a conference area specific to our area. We also have a few other events that we try to do every so often. I won't go into all those, but you heard me emphasize the word chapter. That's because it's not all about chapter-wide events. We want to serve people that have special interests in certain things. So we've come up with these special interest groups. And historically, I'll say 10 years ago, we had organizational development as a special interest group. And then eventually we had, this is like 20 years ago, I think we had a technology or learning technology SIG, and that was good. But then that one fell away, but the organizational development kept going, probably because the same person kept leading it year after year and still has. Fast forward to about 5 years ago, I was asked to kind of get that technology SIG started up. So I went ahead and did that. I was a volunteer. I started leading this technology SIG on my own, figured out how to do it. The way we were doing it in the pre-COVID days was we would meet at a, I guess you would call it a restaurant. They call it Panera here. I don't know if you have it. Okay, you do have Panera. They had a community room and we would go there, and I've got a video, that promo video that we made about this, but you'd meet there, you know, you get a bagel and cream cheese and coffee, compliments of the chapter, and then you would just kind of, someone would lead the meeting, get this topic started, and who knows where you'd end up. You might start talking about LMSs, and you might end up talking about e-learning or whatever, but it's all related to technology, and that was a fun hour and a half. It was unique in that it involved everybody. It was unique in that there was a variety of people, newbies who don't know about technology and people who did. And so you just kind of talk and chat, and everybody could get engaged because we allowed the members to come in and be able to talk and ask what they wanted to know. It wasn't a presentation like I'm doing right now, but it was more of, so the leader would say, what do you want to talk about? And then they would. And it just kind of kept on going. So it was kind of a nice thing. And they did something similar to that to OD. Well, after a number of years of leading the technology SIG, someone on the board, I don't know if you know Kara North, you may have heard the name, but she was president and said, well, we'd like to have a VP of SIGs, which is a board position, to kind of help grow this area. So they did, and I'm done it for about 3 years here. And I'm going to show you a PowerPoint that kind of shows a few things about how I've run it at a high level. No one's seen this PowerPoint except the current SIG leadership that I have. So you guys are getting a special view. Not even our members have seen this. I presented it just a few days ago because this was a SIG celebration, as I call it, to kind of celebrate all the effort that was done by the SIG leaders. So I am going to see if I can do this. Am I sharing a screen? Wait a minute, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can cancel. Why am I seeing all this other stuff? Oh, here it is. Too many screens open. So I'm going to click here, click there, and okay. So can you see my screen? Okay. Display.
I can. I'm going to reshare my video and it doesn't want to let me. So I'm on, but can't see me now.
Okay, that's all right. So I had the screen. We did it on the 7th. And this kind of gives you a snapshot. After every meeting, I take a picture of all of the meetings. I try to attend not just technology, I try to attend all of them. I take a picture, maybe Photoshop, dress it up a little, but it shows smiling faces from everybody who attends those specific 1 hour, 1.5 hour sessions. So this is just a snippet of all that. Just to kind of give an idea that we have all these meetings scattered throughout the year. They are bi-monthly. Each SIG meets every other month. And, you know, there's promotions. People show up if they show up, and there's content delivered, and there's a sense of community because they get to kind of informally talk together. Every single SIG has an introduction time where we go around the room. Tell me who you are. What's your favorite movie? What's your favorite glasses? Why do you like Kim? Whatever it might be. So we do that. And then we get to whatever the topic is. So this year in 2022 alone, we had 5 career development SIGs, 5 diversity and inclusion SIGs, 5 leadership development SIGs, 5 technology SIGs, and 6 organizational development SIGs, just because that leader wanted to do 6 in 1 year. I say, let's let people relax November, December. But anyways, I'm rolling off script. With that totals 26 meetings, as you can tell, and that was about 36 hours of activities that are going on above and beyond chapter-wide events. If you think about it, what does that equate to? That's about 301 attendees, not unique attendees, because some attend multiple SIGs. You know, like some people, you might find Brenda, who will attend maybe 3 out of 5 SIGs throughout the year. But I'm just saying, so she would count 3 times. But 301 attendees, that's pretty cool. The way our SIG works, at my level, I had 1 assistant, past tense, always looking for new ones. He's rolling off. And we had 5 SIGs, and then we had a single leader for each one. But in some cases, they were allowed to go ahead and recruit assistants. So we had some assistants for some of these different SIGs as well. Various levels of how they were involved. Moving into next year, currently, because volunteers kind of come and go or come and stay, I'm kind of running the whole show here, and we've got some new people and some same people. The way it's been organized, it's always been a single leader, but in this case, diversity and inclusion has 2 leaders, co-leaders, and we still have some assistants. The way we promote it is a kind of a variety. So on the board, we have a marketing communications person, a VP of that. You might have that in Nebraska as well. But they're in charge of the website and do automated kind of emails and digital newsletters that come to your door maybe a couple times a year. So they do that to help promote our SIGs. When I say automated, that means you go out to the website, you as maybe it's Alicia, go out to the website, you sign up for a SIG based on the calendar, and there's an automated email that gives you a Zoom link. And then maybe a couple weeks later, there'll be an automated email that says, remember, there's another SIG coming up on December, whatever. So we do that. Plus, I do stuff on my own because I want to make sure that one important word is always kept in the front of the mind of all SIG leaders. Anybody guess? Starts with an A. It's attendance. So we have SIG focuses, I call them. So I'm into social media, I try, and I try to get testimonials from certain key people that I discover have attended a couple different SIGs so far in a year. I'd reach out to them, say, hey, how would you like to be in Hollywood or Nebraska? And they would say, sure. And I said, just give me your headshot and give me a couple sentences why you like SIGs. They do that. And then I've got these little things that I post. So this is what I posted this year. I try to do it once a month. Also, how else are you going to get attendance? It's all about the meetings. So I've come up with my own semi-branded ATD graphics for each individual meeting. So you'll see that if you ever go to one of our LinkedIn or Facebook is where we've been posting about the different meetings we have. So each leader has their own little picture. We give a little snippet about what the meeting's about. If there happens to be a special featured speaker, then I swap out their photo for the special speaker. And then maybe a little brief sentence, a partial sentence about what it is. Because, with people scanning through websites, they don't have a lot of time to read. But if they do, I also have a few sentences in text next to the graphic that says what the meeting's about. And try to create a buzz. Okay, so I do that as well. And then at this particular SIG celebration, I did ask, well, what are some opportunities? And we celebrated. And I thanked them. So that's what I wanted to share regarding what our chapter does. Any questions, like the board maybe saying, how do they do that? How do they actually recruit, or how do they do their normal cadence of SIGs from a leadership perspective? Or maybe you're a member right now out here and want to ask, what happens at a SIG? I'm open, whatever you guys want to talk about.
Todd, those are all excellent questions. I want answers to all of those. Like, how did you recruit? What did the format look like? Because I think you told me you started getting involved through a SIG, so I don't recall which SIG that was, but I think all of that should begin. Technology, okay.
Well, let's see. How I got involved to be a technology leader, it was just my personal background. I joined ATD because I wanted to learn more about the full gamut of learning and talent development. It's not just make a pretty job aid or something. There's a whole bigger picture. So I wanted to learn more about that because I don't have a formal education in that space. As I'm guessing half of the people on this call, you come in from different angles. But I did have the technology part. I kind of understood multimedia. So I wanted to share that, and I thought that would be a SIG I could get involved with and help lead because I knew something about it. That's kind of how I got into it, and leadership said, oh, we could use we need to get that other technology SIG up and running. That would be great. I think people would come. You kind of have to listen to, put your ear on the floor and listen to what the members are saying or thinking. And that's kind of how I started that. But to start off asking, once the board decided they wanted a VP of SIGs, they went ahead and they worked it out with ATD National, applied for it, did whatever they did in the background. I wasn't on the board. I don't know those details. But they, I guess, created in policy or bylaws that, and had it approved that they could go ahead and have that VP of SIGs on the board. So once that was done, that following year, I joined the board in that role. I searched high and low. I guess there's a lot of different white papers and things from national level. You can search and try to find information because other chapters have done it. Maybe not many, but other chapters have. So I gathered whatever I could and tweaked it and made the position my own as far as how to lead and how the SIG chapter should function. What I did to kind of answer, I think, Debbie's question is I at the kind of last holiday function before I became VP, I just networked, asked around anybody, what kind of SIGs would you guys be interested in? Because I'm starting this up. And I got a few things written in there, and that led to a survey that I went ahead and posted. I said, if you're interested in these 5 surveys or other category, let me know, and let me know 2 things in the survey. If you're interested in attending, if you're interested in volunteering as a leader, or if you're interested in volunteering as an assistant. And I did that survey. It was 1 survey, but I repeated those same 3 questions 5 times or 4 times, depending on how many different SIGs I thought people were interested. So I asked that question for the technology SIG because I was rolling off of it. I asked it about leadership development SIG, since that seemed to be something of interest. And then I took that data and said, all right, if there's enough interest, I'll go ahead and make it a SIG. So it was just popularity contest, We had a couple people that were interested in neuroscience as a SIG, but not enough. So I didn't make that a SIG for our chapter. So it kind of depended on what people wanted. And then from there, I went and took the data from that single survey. There might have been a couple people that were interested in leading it, reached out, did a little onboarding, got them involved, and said, okay, you're going to be it. All right, this is how you do it. I'm going to show you that process. And I created a job aid, if you will, on how to lead a SIG. What's involved in that? I'll pause for questions because I can't see faces.
So Todd, I have a question in the chat, and I had someone message me directly, and I'm starting to think that there might be a slight gap in understanding of what SIGs are. I know Martha and Maribel had a question, and I'm wondering if they are thinking this too, but they said, what should we look for in executive sponsorship? How should we approach these individuals? So I'm thinking, because somebody else messaged me, that people are thinking that SIGs are like ERGs or inclusion groups within their work. which is a great topic, but is different than the purpose of today's call. This is more so, Martha and Maribel, how you as a member can basically have an interest group on a professional development topic, and network with people outside of your company. And so I'm wondering if your question is related to diversity and inclusion, and that. So I don't know. I know you don't have. Yep. Okay. Because I had somebody else reach out thinking that it was for work, and I mean it is for work, but it's more so. I don't know, Todd. How would you define it?
Okay, it sounds like this question, I need to back up a lot. This gets back to the role of ATD. So let's say you are a human being and you work at a company. ATD is outside of work, and it is an organization dedicated to helping you grow in the field that you're in. And the field is just in ATD, it's a general field of anything related to kind of professional development of learning, I would say, something to that effect, which might include HR department if you work at a large company. It might include definitely a training department if you have that at a company, those kinds of general areas. So a chapter would have chapter-wide events that are general, typically, about learning. You might have a speaker that talks strategy about learning. Maybe they are an independent, they have their own company, a small freelance company, and they want to talk about what they do related to learning. So you get a general audience. That's chapter-wide events. SIGs are almost the same thing in that it's outside of a company, unrelated to where you work, like an ARG, but it's different from chapter-wide events in that it's about something more specific within what a chapter-wide event would be. It's something more specific. For example, you might have a technology SIG that just focuses on, PowerPoint, e-learning software, how do you make a job aid, what's a learning management system. It's technology stuff, all that digital stuff. You might have another SIG that might be related to leadership. And when I say leadership, I mean learning leadership, leadership learning. So you would have topics related to how do learning leaders behave? What do they do? And it kind of talks general. Leadership's leadership, right? But it kind of focuses more on the leadership end of learning, Does that kind of answer the question I kind of thought I heard?
Yes. Yep. So that's a note on our part to make sure that we educate on that. So yes, thank you for defining that. Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to muddy the waters, but sometimes we have a grouping, which is not officially a SIG, a grouping of people that say, hey, I'm working on my CPLC or whatever that's called in ATD, those professional designations, and they'll want to find someone else or a couple people that are working on their designation also, and they'll get together and only talk about that. It might be 3 or 4 people, whatever it is. They'll just go ahead and meet on the side. That's not really a SIG, but it's still a grouping of people that get together.
Right. Yeah, because diversity and inclusion, I see that you do have a SIG on that topic, and we have various sizes of organizations that are members of the Nebraska chapter, and they're at, just as personally, organizationally, they're at different points in their journey of how they are, I guess, living out their values of being inclusive. And so that's why I just put in the chat, it'd be a great SIG to get together with, I've worked at a corporation, Union Pacific, where we had 9 ERGs, and then I worked at a startup where they were in their second year of having them. And so there are some best practices that I know I personally can share from working in those too, but that's where we need Martha and Maribel. You don't have to be the expert, but that's where we need members to, step up and say, hey, let's do this community of practice, aka this interest group. Because we only have so
add
much
to that.
with. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to not forget that comment that you just made, that all SIGs, as a leader, you don't have to know it all. You don't have to know much at all. You can just decide I'll lead it, but they're going to probably want to get some speakers, to volunteers, just to come in to this digital online virtual SIG to go ahead and speak. And that's fine. It could be only 45 minutes, less than an hour. And then you have time for Q&A and just talking and things like that. So all the SIG leader would have to do is just organize it. I heard this person knows this stuff. So would you mind talking to our group? It's a great way to network. Sure, they do it, you schedule it. The SIG leader who doesn't know about D&I maybe will go ahead and introduce them. Anybody can do that. You're done. And then that's you being a SIG leader. Regarding diversity and inclusion, my story is that I personally didn't know a lot about it. But there was someone in our chapter was really gung-ho and wanted to even move into that space professionally. And well, okay, like, yeah, when can I be a SIG leader? When are you starting this up? And it's like, well, first I got to do a survey. Hold on. And he really wanted to do this. So we set that up. He got a committee together. It wasn't just himself, and they had their own SIG. Diversity, equity, inclusion is kind of the popular trifecta name. I shortened it to diversity and inclusion just for the sake of the SIG, just so people knew what it was. But the nice thing about that SIG is that really affects not just learning and development, it affects everything. It affects any company, it affects things outside of a company. It affects everything on the planet. So in a way, that SIG should have everybody in it. It's kind of like career development. Everybody should be interested in a career, right? Unless you choose, you've got all the money and you won the lotto and you don't really need to want to work. Diversity and inclusion is, it's about, they're all intermingling. I'm going to stop talking. Maybe somebody else wants to answer that question.
Well, can I shift gears? Chad asked a question in the chat.
Yes.
He said, what time of day works best for holding SIGs, and have you gone back to in-person?
Great questions. We have not gone back to in-person. The reason for that is, I think, hesitation over the past couple of years, and now we've gotten to a point where we're all seem to be busier than ever, all members, and they realize that they can attend more SIGs if they're held virtually. If you think about 36 meetings, extra meetings called SIGs in a year, they're able to attend more of them if it's virtual. What time of day? I would say most of the time our sweet spots have been early in the morning to avoid work, 7:30 to 9. If people drop off, they drop off early. That's not a problem. We also have 2 of them, 2 out of 5, that are held at lunchtime, 12 to 1. One of them does at 12 to 1:30. If people drop off, they drop off. What else? All good questions. You kind of go with what, part of it is you go with what the leader is available for. If they think that this would be a good time, you might do that time. You can always change it up, but I always like to have them, all the leaders say, commit to one time slot per year and then maybe change it up. I've left it open for the past year or two. If they wanted to try out an in-person again, they're more than welcome. Just reach out to me because we have a process we go through. One is you got to find a place that'll do it, typically for free. And then we like to order food because I'm a foodie and food tracks people, right? So just a little bit. And typically it's just absorbed by the chapter budget. That's the other thing that I don't think was asked. For our SIGs, they're all free. Chapter events have a little bit of a fee, even if you're a member, but SIG events are all free. And because of that, SIGs are a way to promote joining the chapter. Want to join the chapter? You can attend all 36 SIGs for free. How about that for a promotion? We have a new message.
Awesome.
What else do you have? What else could I talk about?
I
It's
feel like
great to have assistance at the SIG level, at the leadership level, because that can help with maintaining your chapter goals. Now I'm talking the board. Like I might have a few goals of increasing SIG attendance overall by 10%, whatever it might be. This gets into board discussion, but we do that as well. And I'm pretty sure that your chapter board members also have their own goals and objectives too. Minneapolis ATD also has their SIGs. Yeah. And if you really get into it, I haven't mentioned this yet, but if you're really into it, you can do a collaboration between other chapters. We've done that with our region, I believe. Like we'll have reciprocity between Detroit, Dayton, Cincinnati, maybe a few other chapters. So that means that if you're interested in attending a technology SIG in Columbus, it's free as long as you're a member of that Detroit chapter. Because, you know, ATD is ATD. But you just have to arrange it, and and it involves a little more technology, because you have to, you know how for your events, you might have to go to your website and you register for them. You have to add that ability into Wild Apricot to, that's the hosting service, to go ahead and have a code put in so that then they can attend for free. I don't know how all that works, but that would be something I could forward you, someone, if you're interested in that.
Yeah, if you want to send that, that'll be great. So
it's a person.
What'd you say?
It's a person. The person who runs our website would know how to do
Oh,
it.
yeah, sure. No, we have a similar person. So I think that's the thing to keep in mind too. If any of you are interested in starting a SIG, we will definitely support you as a board. We have a director of technology that manages our website. We also have a director of brand that does our social media posts.
Cool.
So you have, you know, a lot of support. It's just having that point person to kind of facilitate it and schedule the meetings. I like that you all meet bi-monthly. Maybe we start out quarterly.
Mhm.
You know, there's no like set cadence of how often you need to meet. So,
Yeah,
but mhm,
I think Cincinnati does it quarterly, and they might have
Cincinnati,
3.
that's okay. So yeah, Todd, we really appreciate your time sharing with us the great things that Central Ohio is doing. I think it's really awesome the way you've organized it, and you know, I would love to see at least one new SIG start this year. But you know, it definitely is something that any of our members can do. So feel free to reach out if that is something that you are interested in doing, and we'll get a board member partnered with you to get that going. So
It's exciting and fun to do.
yes, it is.
All
So
right.
we'll have a wonderful weekend. I think this was a great way to end our week of employee learning. And um, apologize, I can't get my camera to show, but I do want to give a special thank you to Mireille and Rachel, Lindsay. They're doing great stuff with our professional development committee, and appreciate all the support. And yeah, Martha, Maribel, Brenda, Chad, Alicia, feel free, don't be a stranger, feel free to reach out if we can help you in any way. On our website, we do have our board of directors listed. So feel free to email anyone from there. Mireille, anything else you'd like to add? Okay. Todd, if you think of anything else, let me know. Otherwise, if there's any resources you want to email me, we can send it out to the participants as well. So
Okay. My materials are more, for, when you decide to,
just start
formally
one.
have a VP of SIGs and that kind of thing.
Yep, absolutely. And this is kind of testing the waters for that. So we just kind of wanted to see chapter interest in doing that. And then, yeah, certainly we'll be picking your brain on if we decide to open that up as a role for 2024. So
Mhm. Cool. All right.
awesome. Well, have a great weekend, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm waving. You can't see it, but I'm waving. So,
All right, I'll
Have a
wait
good
for
weekend.
you. We'll use both
all
hands.
right. Thank you. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Take care. Stay warm.
All right, you too.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Take care. Thanks, Todd. Bye-bye.